Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spotty Nation Network. Sorry for the technical delay that happened. Um, this is Thursday's show, Potential of Africa. I would like to start the show with video of change. I'm going to share the video, and you'll be. Right.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing today? I'm so glad to come back here, and for some reason today I feel this energy and I just want to talk about change, man. I posted something every day, and this is what I say. If you forget about everything, just remember this one thing. Sometimes you might not get to see the change you want unless you change. Insanity is doing the same thing while expecting a different result. You cannot see a different result if you're doing the same thing. I feel like thinking about Africa and the things that we always talk about and we're struggling with. We all know that it's a lot of them. We can talk about leadership, corruption, dependence, tribalism, all those issues. There's so many things that we struggle with. And maybe you might be tired of hearing all these issues all the time, but we have to talk about them. We have to address them. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of people who do not know what Africa is going through. Wants to issues that Africa is facing. And Africa is facing. Our job is to address them. Brutally be honest with ourselves in order to solve the problem. You cannot solve the issue if you don't know the source and what the problem is. The change that we expect to happen in our country, in our government, societies and communities and our companies, whatever the change that you want, even in your life when you go to passion, whatever the change you want to see, you have to know that you have to change. This is something that we act towards. If you want to see something change, then you have to change. Because sometimes the thing that you wanted to change is not an issue, but the issue is how you see it. And if you don't change your perspective, then you're gonna keep seeing it negative way, right? That's how you will see it. So sometimes in order to change the situation and the negativity around you is by you becoming positive. If you become positive, you will see it positive, even if there's a negative things, but your mind will always direct you, will always elaborate things, will always lead you back to the positiveness, you know what I'm saying? Because that's where you are at the moment. And the change that we want to see in Africa, it can only happen if we do change. So instead of sitting down here and talking about change, I will go out and actually be the change that Africa needs. Hashtag Proud Africa, right? It's very easy for people to complain, to give up, right? Because you don't have to put on effort. It's very easy to lose hope. It's very easy to do that, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to care. If you care much, you're going to get hurt. You don't want to love, because if you love much, you might be betrayed, you know what I'm saying? So it's better to be on the other side of negativity. It's very easy to be the side of negativity than positivity, because if you want to be the side of positiveness, then you have to put on effort. And a lot of people these days, they don't want to put effort, so that's why they end up giving up. But this is a message for you, that you are the only one who can change the situation. You can change it. I don't want to put God in this, because I believe that God has already given us ability and mind to think, to elaborate, and to do things. He already given us that. We already have permission. As long as you're alive, that means you still have a job to do, right? The day died, that means I'm done, I'm finished, right? My mission is done. As long as I'm alive, It's because I still have something to do. So you already have that permission. But how do you go out and work on that? How do you use the opportunity? Because life is an opportunity that God has given you and me. How do you take advantage of that opportunity to actually bring about change? How do you do that? And that's the question that I want you guys to think about today. And if you can, let me know in the comment section. And when I'm talking about change, I'm talking about, there's a lot of things you don't like it, right? Well, you can change it. As long as you see the problem, you have a solution. Things that you don't like it, I mean, you cannot love anything, everything. You cannot like everything, but there are things that can be changed. And if there's something you don't like, you cannot keep complaining because it's insane, right? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. It's insanity. So you need to change. And how can you bring about change, right? To whatever situation that you see. So you can take perspective of your country, right? Things that you're struggling with. I love this one quote I saw on Twitter the other day, and I just had to repeat it because it was really well written. And she wrote this on her bio. She wrote, "Love for your country doesn't mean love for the president or for the leader. Ask yourself how you can contribute to your country." And it reminds me what, love for your people or for Africa, it doesn't mean that you have to love a leader or whatever that disappoints you, because a lot of time we've been hiding under the shadow of, this government is not doing anything. There's so much corruption. No matter what we do, we're not going to be able to change. Well, love for your country doesn't mean that you have to love that leader who is screwing things up every single day. Ask yourself, how can you contribute? And it's kind of like I'm coming from that point of view, that how can you take advantage of the opportunity, the life you have, to bring about change? Because as long as you're alive, as long as you see there's issues, that means you have a solution. And you just need to figure out how can you figure out the solution. And our job here in Solution One Africa, it's actually to stir up the fire, right? So you might say that you guys are talking too much of this and that, but our job is to remind each other, is to remind that, we can actually bring about change. We might not bring the solution sometimes because we don't have solution to every issue that is going on, right? But you guys will have it, because you guys are going through, we're going through, and when we come together as one Africa, think about it, talk about it, I'm telling you, there's high chance, and I'm confident 100% that we're going to bring about change. And that's why I want to reach university students, I want to reach all the students who will actually bring change to the next generation as soon as possible. So let me know, guys, in the comment section what you're thinking, what's your idea, what's your thoughts. And I think this will be an amazing time for you guys to motivate me as well and to inspire me. So I'll be checking on your comments and maybe we'll come up with something. I appreciate you guys. I love you. Be the change Africa needs. Proud of you. I love you.
Sorry, I've been mute for a while. So that was a motivational video. It was an amazing one. Sorry for the mute part. I muted because the YouTube video wasn't that clear. So I decided to make it mute, and so that you guys can hear it. Now I'm back online. I think everybody can hear me right now. So I'm gonna go back again. That was a nice motivational video that Mika prepared for us, and it's actually about change. And today, I'll be discussing more about change too at the same time. And I'd like to start, before I jump into the show, I'd like to start this session with prayer. So let's just take a moment and pray to God. Holy Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the amazing things that are happening in our lives, and we thank you for everything that's happening in the world, because we believe that you have a grand plan, and every step that we take is a lesson that we need to learn. In the name of the Father, we pray all of this. Amen. All right, so I'm going to jump into my show. Well, I'm not going to be talking much of a potential today, but I don't know how, but we're on the same page with Mika about change. I'm also here to discuss with you about change and how we're going to utilize our potentials. We've been discussing the potentials, and we've been told that we have potentials, that Africa has a potential, everything. And it goes on and on like that, and we keep repeating the potential, the potential, the potential. It's amazing, it's beautiful. Yes, it is. We're not going to discuss that today. We're going to discuss change. We're going to discuss something different today. What do we need to change? How far are we willing to go? So the topic of the show for today is I'll be talking about how far are we willing to go. To make one Africa. So that's the topic. That will be our topic for today. So how far are we willing to go to make one Africa a reality? That's my topic for today. So I'm going to share a slide with you. But before I do that, I want to recap every the shows that we've been going through. We talked about potential, how to utilize them, where are the gaps, what do you see around yourself. So we've done that. We've come so far so that we see the potentials, but we're not actually utilizing the potential. So that's where we are going to work on. So what do we mean when we say change? Many people understand change in different perspectives. Like, what do we need to change? How do we need to change? What are the things that are important and crucial to change in Africa so that we can coexist and use the potential that we've been talking about. We've been talking about lots of potentials Africa has: diamond, cobalt, copper, coltan, uranium, platinum, everything. And we've been talking and discussing and discussing and discussing and discussing, yet it's a year of action. 2022 is a year of action. That's what we have said. And we need to get to the sessions, to these sessions with an action plan, a strategic plan that we need to come up with. So we really need to work on how we're going to utilize the potential. So for us to do those things, for us to utilize the potentials that Africa has, I think we need to really work on the concept of change. So we need to really change lots of things. It has to change. We always keep saying it has to change. We have the potential, we have the capacity, we have the strength, we have the human resources, we have the mineral resources, ground resources. I mean, above the ground, there are resources like water, rivers, lakes. I mean, where I live currently, there are 7 lakes in the city, but fish is hard to come by. Fish is hard to eat. So yeah, what do we need really to change? So I think you've seen the video of Mika, like in the intro. It's an amazing concept. We need to change. It has to change. There has to be a paradigm shift. you know, we have to really change and work on the concept of change. So that's where I'm going to come today. I'm not going to talk about education. I'm not going to talk about the problems. I'm not going to, you know, like, we're not going to just, we're going to talk about change. What are the changes that we really need as Africa to change the entire Africa into becoming a prosperous country? No one would hate that. No one would actually hate the concept of being a prosperous country. I appreciate everything that we are doing, but I don't believe it's enough. I don't believe I've done enough. I don't believe I've sacrificed enough. So that's why I'm going to share a slide with you, and we're going to go through the slide, and we're going to have a discussion time. I'm going to bring it on. Marit is saying, bring it on. All right, so greetings, Tanzan. We're going to go to the slides, and we're going to just check on the slide. So okay. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys, and we're gonna go through the slides together. So all right, I'm gonna share the entire screen with you. Then we're gonna go through. Well, while I'm opening, I'm gonna just talk about change. I've been saying, like Nick has been saying, we've been saying we need to change. We need to really work hard. We really need to come up with a plan, a strategic plan. We need to tackle the problems at hand, and, you know, like, capitalize on everything. We said education has to change. Everything has to change. We've been saying that change has to happen. Change, change, change. We've been talking about change and change and change and change, but nothing seems to change. I'm not saying it's not going to change, but we need to really work hard towards changing those things that we really need to come up with. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just bear with me, guys. I'm gonna just click on my. All right, here it is. I've got the slide ready. It's uploading. So we're gonna talk about change and how far we're willing to go. We're gonna discuss commitment, diligence, and also we're gonna be discussing about you know, all the facts, all the important things that we need to do in order to achieve One Africa. So like we said, potential is a possibility that has not come into reality. So how do we bring it to reality? That's the question that we really need to ask today. So I'll be sharing a slide with you in a bit. So in this slide, I'm going to be talking about some of the things, the researches, the findings. What do we need to do in order to achieve something in the future? What do we need to do in order to achieve what we are meant to achieve as an African, as an individual, as a person? What do we have to do to achieve these things that we claim that we really need them? For example, we've been talking about education. So how do we go forward with the education system? How do we tackle the education system around us. So where do I start? So, for example, I'm in Ethiopia. Where do I start? Do I go to Ministry of Education? Do I go to local schools and just check the education system and all those things? So I don't know how I should do this, but I think this would be nice. I believe this will give you me, and at the same time, so Femnet, welcome to the show. Sam, welcome to the show. Tanzan, Marit, everyone, welcome to the show. Mika, I know you're listening and watching at the same time. So yeah, so before, so I'm gonna share this with you guys. How far will we go? Because we've seen how everyone did. Like, for example, I can give you an example of the Berlin Conference to colonize Africa. I think I'm right over there. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not good with memorizing stuff. So because I've memorized a lot of things, and I think my brain is staying full. But we've done that. We've seen different things. We've seen the commitment the West has. We've seen the commitment that the Iraqis had, and the Afghans, the Taliban, all of those people that were basically claimed to be bad. They had the commitment. They had the, how far they would go. They knew what they were up against. They knew what they were going to fight, but they stood up. So as an African, how far are we really willing to go? How far are we willing to go to achieve the change that we're expecting to happen in Africa? How far? Because it's either now we decide on that one or not decide on that one. So that has to come. So I hope everyone can see it. All right. So I'm going to go forward with just the slides, I guess. So I'm going to go with the slides. How far? Okay, how far are we willing to go? Sorry for the spelling. How far are we willing to go to make One Africa a reality? That's the title, and that's also the the PowerPoint. It was supposed to be how far are we willing to go? How far are we willing? How far will we go? Actually, yeah. How far will we go? Oh, it's okay. So it's how far will we go to make sure that One Africa is a reality? So how far are we willing to go? That's the question that I'll be asking you today. So I'm going to talk about the willpower. This is the ability to resist short-term temptations in order to meet long-term goals. Some might simply describe it as delaying gratification for a specific purpose. People use willpower every day in one form or another, whether it's resisting the urge to surf the web when there is work to do, or choosing a salad for lunch instead of a burger. So this is what's going to take from us. How far are we willing to go? It needs a willpower. So it all depends on the will. So the willpower is defined this way. So it's all about the choices that we're going to make today that are going to make tomorrow a better tomorrow. Not for us, basically. It doesn't have to be for us. It can be for our grandchildren. But we need to have the will. This willpower it's resisting the short-term temptations that you see today, the comfort zone. It's getting out of that comfort zone and just walking out and then deciding, I need One Africa. Not for me, I need it for my grandchildren. Not for my child, I need it for my grandchildren, great-grandchildren. That's what we need to get up and say. As long as we don't, resist the temptation of, short-term temptations that we always face, then we're gonna get stuck at some point. We're gonna get stuck, and we're gonna be the people who talked, the people who have been talking for a while, the people who have been Pan-Africanist. No, that's not gonna happen to One Africa. It has to become a reality. Then, how far are we willing to go? How far are we willing to resist the short-term temptations and satisfaction and contentment that we have now? How far are we willing to give that up? That's when it comes to willpower. I want you to grab this in your mind. The willpower is its ability to resist short-term temptations. So how far are we willing to go? That's one thing. Research shows that there are 3 steps to achieving your goal. So we have set goals. That's One Africa. This is a big goal. So for that to be achieved, there has, there are researchers who've been sitting there and then doing research in psychology, in psychology, sociology, and all those departments. They've been doing research, and they have been coming up with ways of achieving a goal. One thing is establish motivation for change and set a clear goal. So we have said the motivation for change, as Mika said earlier in the video, and we have to set a clear goal. And before this, I didn't even see the video that Mika released. This was me today. And this shows us that we are on the same purpose. We're on the same motivation that, we have to work on. Like Mika was preparing the video, I was preparing this. We didn't even talk about it, but I was getting ready for this one because it seemed far-fetched for just, we have to get into action, and I have to decide on that one. I came up with this idea, and Mika was preparing a video today. When he shared it, I was surprised because we were working on the same topic. That shows that people are on the same common ground. But how far are we willing to go? So we need to set a clear goal. So monitor behavior working toward that goal. So we need to monitor the behavior that we see in our One Africa. There has to be a ground where we can set a working goal. Like One Africa team, the people, the viewers, everyone needs to be on the same goal, on the same purpose, on the same target. We need to really work on this, because as long as we are divided among ourselves, even in our channels, even in our groups, if we are fighting over a silly idea, even if we're arguing about a silly opinion of someone in the channel, in the group, anywhere, then we're not going to get to the goal. Because if you know the quote that Winston Churchill said, "You will not reach your destination if you stop and throw stone at every dog that barks." So if we are going to get there, we really need to have to monitor the working behavior of people in this group, in this channel, in this live show, in every social media. We need to bring them to think to one great goal. That's what we need to monitor. Motivate them. So that's one thing. So exercise willpower to prepare for success. So I made it bold so that you can see where I am focusing. So we need to exercise on what? On the willpower. For what? To prepare for success. So we really need to work on that one. So we really need to work on exercising our minds, exercising our preparedness for the success that we have set, the goal that we have set in front of us. So we really need to ask ourselves, are we really exercising those things? In our social media, what are we reading? What are we posting? What are we working on? Is everyone in this channel, is everyone working towards one goal? That's One Africa. Are we working towards that concept? We really need to ask ourselves those questions. So these are I mean, researchers put these steps of achieving goals. So we need to change. We need to change. And for change to happen, we need to motivate the change and set a clear goal. Then we need to work towards that goal. And we need to exercise the willpower, like we said. And then we need to prepare for the success that's about to come. If we exercise, when exercise becomes our life, then bodybuilding or growing or getting strong and enduring won't be a challenge. So what can you do? There are certain strategies to help build up self-control. Focus on one goal at a time, avoid temptations, make a plan, monitor behavior toward the end goal, reward yourself, get sufficient sleep, seek support. These are the things that will help you with willpower. We really need to control our every time I see people watching YouTube, we're actually doing something unimportant most of the time. We're not digging about Africa. We're not getting to know Africa. We're not doing anything. So we need to focus on a goal. You know, like we need to take time. We need to set time for those things. We need to seek support. What do I need to read? What do I need to do? Like, so we need to work on these ones. And, you know, these are the steps that we can take for willpower. So change and be the change. So change is beautiful. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's fabulous because I can put it in different ways. Look at a flower that's about to blossom. Look at a woman. Look at a woman who's about to give birth. There's life which is going to come, but that took change. It has to change. She has to change. Her body, her physique has to change. Her diet has to change. Everything has to change. The flower is going to blossom. Not only going to blossom after flowering and, you know, catching our eyes, it's going to have to, you know, like drop off, fall off, and dry up. And at the end of the day, it's going to have a seed, and we're going to plant the seed, and we're going to see the forest that's going to happen in the future. So change is beautiful. Change is amazing. Change is awesome. Change is fabulous. Name it anything. Change is amazing. So we really need to. But question is today, why don't Africans like change? Why don't we like change? Do we really need change? I mean, are we in desperate need of change? Because I really need to see that one. We have to be in desperate need of change. Unless we're in desperate need of change, then we're not going to sacrifice everything that we have to achieve the change that we're looking for. So we really need to be in desperate need of change. Are we really in need of change? Because that's the biggest question we need to ask ourselves. Do we really need change? Because what are our investments? The investments that I do today, the things that I spend on today, the things that I work on today are going to tell me what my investment is. If I'm just having fun, relaxing, watching funny videos just for laughs or something, then if I'm doing that, if I'm not investing my time, at least that's the least we can do on social media. We need to invest on Africa. We need to invest on change. We need to change ourselves. We need to change our financial status. We need to change. So what have we got to lose if we don't change? I want you to ask these questions because we don't like change. We, as an African, we don't like change. That's a fact. Admitting that we don't like change will help us give solution to the problem, because 50% of the problem is admitting the problem. So we're going to work on the solution after that. So do we need change? That's the question I want you to ask. All of you, I want you to ask yourself those questions. What have we got to lose if we don't change? What is going to happen to Africa if Africa doesn't change? If Africans don't change, if Africans don't work towards change, What's going to happen? I want you to ask that question. It's a critical question that you really need to ask yourself. What's going to happen to Africa? That's the question I'm going to leave for you to answer later. Why do we say it's not ours, but it's theirs? If it's good, it doesn't matter who brought it up. Most of the time when you see debates in Africa, things that are happening in Africa, we tend to stick to our old ways and say it's not our culture, it's not our thing, it's not our thinking, it's not our ideology, it's not our philosophy, it's not our... We keep saying those things and we end up being cornered and having no philosophy at all. If it's good, if it has 50% good and 50% bad, leave the 50% bad and take the rest, the good thing. Is democracy good for Africa? Take something from democracy. Is Marxism or Leninism good for Africa? Take something good from it. Don't just dump it. It's not my philosophy, or it's not my best friend's philosophy. Let's say UK is your best friend, so you become a democratic country. Russia is your best friend, then you become a communist country. That has to stop. We need to be creative. We need to come up with a plan. We need to come up with a design. Say like, you know what? I like democracy in this aspect. I like communism in this aspect. I like Leninism in this aspect. And I want to merge those things. I want to create African development path. Those are things that we really need to say. It doesn't matter who brought it up, whether white or black, brown or yellow, it doesn't matter. As long as we work towards making Africa great and one, then it doesn't matter who brought it up. Let's just use it. So why do we keep saying it's not ours, it's theirs? Let's work on that mindset. The other thing is, change is inevitable, whether you like it or not. It's loading. Change is happening. It's just happening. We're just fighting it off. We're saying, no, we're going to stick to the old ways, but it's happening. You're not going to do anything about it. It's happening whether you like it or not. So we really need to think that. So you see, I'm going to give you an example of dinosaurs here. And I'm going to tell you the story of the dinosaur. So the dinosaurs didn't decide to become vegetarians. So they got extinct. So if you don't change, this is my reference from Dr. Spencer Johnson, who wrote the book, Who Moved My Cheese? So I took this quote in that book. It says, if you do not change, you can become extinct. So are we willing to let Africa go extinct? Let African potential go extinct. Let African wisdom, knowledge, phytomedicine, the medical art grew in Africa. We had the plantations for, farms for phytomedicines, which are plant medications, sources of, sources of medication of the modern day pharmaceutical. We had them. They were taken from us. Are we going to just let those things go extinct? Are we going to do that? I want you to ask yourself about that. So change is going to happen. Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. So if you don't change, the choice is yours. If you don't want to change, you're going to go extinct. Your ways are going to go extinct. Your beliefs, your value system, your virtues, your whatever you believe in is going to go extinct. No one is going to like it. Everybody's going to smile at you and say, oh, look at that guy. The guy who didn't change. So are you willing to let Africa fall with your, reluctance, negligence, ignorance? That's what I want you to ask yourselves today. So change is inevitable. We have to accept the fact that it's going to happen. We do want a better life, right? Like everyone, that's the question. You, whoever is in this channel, whoever is in this channel, I want you to ask yourself, we want a better life. But how far are we willing to go to make it better? The life that we have, if we do really deserve and want and desire, how far are we willing to go? What are the sacrifices that we are willing to pay for that life, for betterment of Africans, for betterment of Africa? I'm not saying, everything is going to become comfy and beautiful and amazing. No, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be obstacles, but how far are we really willing to go? Because they were willing to go to unnatural behavior of human beings. They colonized people. Not only colonized, they treated them lesser being so that those people will lose self-esteem, self-confidence. All those things were done so that their continent, their part of the world, could grow. And what have we done? What have we done for Africa? What have we done? What have we contributed for Africa? Yes, many of you could, differ with me in the idea that not all Africans don't want change. Yeah, but show me where Africa is, and I'll show you who wants change. If Africa really believes in changing, tell me that we're doing much better than this, because they're doing way better than this. And they're talking about space travel. They're talking about inhabiting Mars. What are we talking about? Aid, United Nations. We're talking about oil, bread. So, how far are we willing to go for it? Are we really ready to pay the sacrifices that needs to be paid to make Africa a great nation? So in this concept of the book, cheese is whatever you want in life. So having cheese makes you happy. One thing, but old beliefs do not lead you to new cheese. You want an Africa, a united Africa, but you don't want to go back to the old Africa. You want the new, united one Africa. In this concept, the cheese is the one Africa. So having one Africa makes you happy, makes me happy. If that's the case, then the old system, the old belief, don't need us there. We need a new system, a new functioning system, a new development path for Africa to have a new African concept, a new one African concept. Just not the same thing. We don't want to repeat the same thing that African Union is doing. We want to do better. So I want you to ask yourselves, so when we talk about this, there's fear in many of us. We've talked about this even in my session in the second session, we've talked about this, and many people fear death. There's fear of death most of the time. People die every day, but we're still afraid of dying. We're still afraid of letting go of that mini life that we're living with the same repetition. We're so afraid that we're going to hand over that kind of life, or worse than that, for our grandchildren, yet we're afraid. In a state, in a country with courageous youth, the youth get up, gather up, ask questions, question the system, question the proclamations that have been passed. But we don't question anything anymore. We just lay dormant and just accept whatever's coming to us. So when you stop being afraid of something, you start feeling good. Fear takes away all the energy that you all the energy that comes to us. So we really need to work on that. So we have to let go of the inner fear that we have. Believe in our fight, believe in our struggle for one Africa. To be remembered. Like, see, the heroes that we have, we don't even have a common hero in Africa. Who's our common hero? They struggled for us. Mandela went through prison time, 27 years of suffering. Long way to freedom. Then we really need to work towards achieving different goals, different standards. Steve Biko died. He's just killed. Harriet Tubman fought. Still, didn't still bring change to Black Americans living in America. Kwame Nkrumah shot. Nyerere shot. Call them. They're killed. Are we willing to pay this price? So what is our deepest fear? What are we afraid of so far? We really need to ask ourselves these questions. I feel the need, the urge. This is when I thought about this week's session, this is what came to my mind. So you can criticize me anytime, anywhere, even after this show. I mean, even on the live stream, you can come in and you can criticize me later. But that's it. This is what I feel. So when we stop being afraid, we start feeling good. Not only we start feeling good, we even let other people feel good around us. When they're around us, when we are not afraid, when they're around us, they feel courageous. Because courage at the end of the day is a fear that has said its goodbye. So how far are we willing to go to make one Africa a reality? That's how. So are we afraid of leaving the comfort zone where we are, what we are comfortable at? Are we afraid? I want you to read this quote. I want you to read, I would suggest you, all of you here, read this book, Dr. Spencer Johnson, Who Moved My Cheese. Marita already said she ordered the book, so I want you guys to read the book. What you are afraid of is never as bad as what you imagine. The fear you let build up in your mind is worse than the situation that actually exists. I like this quote. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important. That's Ambrose Redmoon. Courage and having a courageous youth mass is not the absence of fear. It's actually seeing beyond what you see. You have to look at the bigger picture than the smaller chaos that you see around you, the complaint, the yawning, like the screaming, the crying, the tears that you see. You have to see beyond that, because Albert Einstein said you cannot solve a problem that you're a part of. If you're part of the complaint, you cannot solve the complaint. If you're part of the crisis, you cannot solve the crisis. You need to be above the problem. To see it clearly, you need to stop or to move forward and faster and look back, or climb up and see the problem from top. Because these perspectives will give you a clear view. So I want you to think of a new Africa. I like this quote. The devil whispered in my ears, you cannot withstand the storm that is coming to you. I whispered to the devil's ear, I am the storm. I am the change. I am the one Africa. I am the new Africa that's coming. So if you're telling me that I cannot withstand the storm that's coming on my way, the one Africa that's coming on my way, the change that's coming on my way, I am the change. This is what I love. This quote makes me feel so liberated. So I want you to have that one. The quicker you let go of old cheese, old mentality, old ways, old strategy, old thinking, not all of it, take the good ones that need to be kept, leave the bad ones out, and then let go of the old cheese, let go of the old Africa, even the Africa that you are in right now. Let go of that one and just focus on the new one, on the new one Africa. The sooner you find new cheese. So the quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese. So the sooner we let go of our old ways, our old strategies, the sooner we'll find a new strategy, a new Africa, a new liberated Africa, free of starvation and hunger. It can't be heaven. It can be better. So change is happening. Everything's changing now. We either change with it or remain stuck. We have to start now. If not now, then when? Let's not let laziness slip into our life. We need to start moving right now. We need to start working towards a strategy. We need to start talking to people who have written strategies for 5, 6 years, 10 years. We need to start working on common grounds for Africa. So we really need to get there. So movement direction helps you find new cheese. Moving in a new direction, moving in a new directive, better than the Organization of African Union or African Union. A new directive, a new movement, a new direction from that direction will help us get there. Maybe they took the long direction. So if we go and opposite to that one, we'll find the short direction. Or just we might see the problem and then try to solve it. So I want you all to keep this in mind, and we're going to go live and you're going to join in and we're going to talk. So I really want you to have a grasp of the concept. So movement in a new direction helps you find new cheese. That's it. Are you willing to die for it? Because many did. Many died for the change that they anticipated, because they anticipated African Union. They gave up their authority, they gave up their comfort zone, they gave up their children, they gave up their wife. They died. Steve Biko died, left his kid, his wife, his sister, family. Nyerere died, his entire family left behind. We're not even concerned. We haven't even named a street after Steve Biko. We've never named a day after, there has to be a date set for those people to be celebrated for what they sacrificed for Africa, because they don't want you to think about Nelson Mandela. They don't want you to think about Steve Biko. They don't want you to think about Nyerere. They don't want you to think about anybody who was African and a hero, Kwame Nkrumah. They don't want you to think about it. The only thing they want you to think about is Columbus Day. For me, that's funny. And funny in a way that we do it. We do celebrate those days. We don't celebrate Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's Day. There has to be a day. There has to be African Heroes Celebration Day. People who died for African integrity, dignity. People who died fighting an oppressor. They have to be celebrated. They have to be acknowledged by all Africans, known by all Africans. Whether we like it or not, that's how we pay respect. Then we raise a generation that's going to fight for one Africa that we're talking about today, because they see the strength in the idea, the strength in the philosophy, the strength in unity. Are you? Am I? Let's ask ourselves. If you're not up for it, the least you can do is step out. So this is what I wrote today. There is change in progress. It's up to us to decide to be affected positively or negatively. Completely our choice. So change is happening, like it or not. China is scrambling for Africa. Russia is scrambling for Africa. America is scrambling for Africa. They're just going through hell for Africa. They want to get Africa back. They want to control African resources. They want to control everything except Africa. The funny part is, we had a scientist named Dr. Scientist Kitao Echigu who worked in NASA. There was a book that mentioned his name, and that book said, all countries in the world need that scientist except Ethiopia. We didn't want him. We were so proud. We didn't want him. All countries wanted him. It's funny. You see, all of them are fighting for Africa. All of them are fighting to control African resources, except Africans. Except us, everybody's fighting to get us, to get our land, to get our climate, to get our resource, to get our people. Everyone's fighting for it, not us. We're not fighting. We're just letting them take it. We need to really, really think about it. There is change in progress. It's up to us to decide to be affected positively or negatively. Completely our choice. It's up to us to decide. This is the day, this is the time, this is the exact time that we really need to decide. I'm finishing up. If you don't believe that there's change, look at your photo album. Before I became bald, I had hair. I wish I could show you right now because it would make much sense to see that. Look at how you changed. You were just a teenager a couple of years ago. When you look at it, it's not that far, but your body has changed. The way you think has changed. Things that you value have changed. You have changed. Why not let Africa change just like that? Change, not just like, like things that are happening around us, despite the fact that there's chaos. Through chaos, we can capitalize on one Africa. Transaction between African states. We need to work on that one. So you're not the same person you were 5 years ago or more. Our body is a lesson for change. We don't need any motivational speaker or books. Look at yourself, then analyze the changes that happened in your life. That's it. You don't need someone to tell you that there's change happening. Your body is changing. Come on. I'm growing white hair around here, one hair. That's change. I never had a beard. That's change. I never talked about One Africa before. Never thought I would. I did cry at the idea, the concept of Nelson Mandela's movies, the concept of Steve Biko's movies, Cry Freedom. I did feel the anger when I was young, but I never thought this day would come and I'll be part of this change. So look at your body and just listen to your cells talking, to your nails growing every week, to your hair changing every week. That's the motivation you need. Change is happening. Are you just going to die without affecting, influencing, directing, redirecting it? Am I just going to die without redirecting it? That's the question we need to ask today. Change is a miracle. Again, I'm going to repeat it. If you do not change, you can become extinct. So, again, I want to remind you about Swahili Nation Network and One Africa Movement. I want you to like, share, subscribe, hit the like button. Don't forget to do that. Comment here. Be part of this show. Be part of this change that's happening in Africa. I know you can feel it. So share it to people who are in desperate need of it. Share it to the people that you know. Share it to the people that you believe. Even if you don't know them that much, just share it to them. Tell them, please watch. Watch what we're doing to change Africa. Be part of that change. Help them realize that they need to become part of that change. So that's one thing. Change happens. And in the story of this book, it says change happens. They keep moving the cheese. The reward at the end of the day is the cheese, the money, the resources, everything. They keep moving it. They keep touching it. They keep taking it. But change happens. At the end of the day, we're going to be left alone with a bare land. Before that happens, we really need to wake up. Anticipate change. Get ready for the cheese to move. Get ready for the resources that are going to be taken. Get ready and tackle them. Say, we're not going to sell them for this price. That's how I see it. Monitor change. Smell the cheese often so you know when it gets old. We really need to work on this one because we really need to smell, we really need to have that sense of this animal instinct. Within the animal, there's an instinct. You know, they're not like us. They're not, I wouldn't like to say they're not intelligent, but they don't think like us. They think differently. They're instinctive. Instinct, they smell things. When you walk your dog somewhere, they smell if there's danger. They can, your body language tells you. They can hear it, they can sense it, they can feel it. So if we know our old ways, our strategy is not working, we really need to readapt. We're not going to say, we've been working quite long for this one. We can't change this. We can't do this. No. Anticipate the change. Just remember to be instinctive when it comes to change. So adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. The quicker we let go of the old ways that we've been trying to unify Africa, the quicker we can unify Africa easily. Maybe. So let's see our opportunities. This is an assignment for all of us. Change. Move with the cheese. Change. It means move with the time. Move and adjust, readjust without losing your values. I'm not saying lose values, lose principles. No, without losing those, you can change. You can adapt. Then enjoy change. Savor the adventure and enjoy the taste of the new cheese. As long as we don't enjoy the process, then there's no hope for it. So I want you to work on that. I want me to work on that one. We really need to enjoy the ride. That's one thing. Be ready to change quickly and enjoy it again and again and again and again. So what does change require? I'm going to go through faster. Just listen to me. Determination and perseverance. Lao Tzu said, a tree beyond your embrace grows from one tiny seed in your fingertips. A tower 9-story high begins with a lump of earth. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Taking the first step or leap of faith is hard. It involves risks, learning of new things, getting to know new people, making sure the direction is right. Can also be tiring. Sorry for spelling error. But when there is no step, your vision or dream will not come true. That's determination and perseverance. Change requires discontentment. Let's stop settling for less. Let's stop saying it's going to be okay. No, it's not going to be okay. We're going to have to settle for something bigger. Don't settle at all. Keep changing. Keep dreaming bigger. Because I don't know about you guys, but I believe the God who created me is big. And my dream is big. It's never going to stop. I'm going to keep dreaming. And you need to keep dreaming on that one too. You really need to keep working on that dream. If you do today what you did yesterday, you will get today what you got yesterday. The difference between winners and losers is that winners don't do different things. Rather, they do things differently. That's from the book You can win. Shiv Kira, written by Shiv Kira. Losers live in a vicious circle of life filled with complaint, sadness, contentment, fear, blame shifting. We really need to take side now. Are we going to do things differently, or are we going to repeat the mistakes that we've been committing so far? So let's work towards one. So change requires diligence, steady, earnest, and energetic effort, devoted and painstaking work and application to accomplish an undertaking. In this case, One Africa. It needs diligence. It's painful. It's discomforting. It doesn't give you much of an opportunity to think about it, but take time, give it a diligent work, take the pain and leave the comfort zone. Maybe you were supposed to meet your friend today. Leave that. Maybe you're supposed to go somewhere and enjoy your life today. No, leave that and just come to One Africa for participate. Take part in it. Because every seed that you throw grows in someone else's mind. Every seed that you throw grows in somebody else's fertile soul. So we really need to work on that one. If you do not change, again, you can become extinct. So the question for you today is, how far are you willing to go for One Africa? You know you have the potential. What is holding you back? Why did you lose hope in Africa? Why do we trust them, not our people? Where should we start from? And when would we say enough is enough? That's it. At the end, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Tanzan can help me here. Asante sana is thank you, I guess. I said thank you. I said Galatoma, which is thank you in Afan Oromo in Ethiopia. I'm a second Amharic. And Yanele in Tigrinya, gracias, shukran. Thank you for listening to the presentation. I'm gonna go hear some of the comments, and then I'm gonna come back to you guys. I'm gonna share the link with you, and we're gonna go into the live stream, and then we can talk basically. So before I share the link, I would like to go through some of the comments. That's incredible, Swahili Nation, great minds. Here's Tanzan. Here's Marit. And not far enough. Hope. Thanks, Tanzan, and always help you. Sorry, guys. Okay. Everyone is here. I can see it. Now, great minds thinking alike. Thank you, Tanzan, for that one. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna show this. Betty Hailu, the distance we are willing depends on how much we want to change. True, Betty. I would like you to elaborate on that one. Join me on the show. I will share the link right now, and then you can share your opinions. And absolutely 100%. Yes, true. Tanzan said, Betty Hailu said, well said. And also believe that change is possible. Marit, you've been a constant viewer of this channel, and I appreciate that one. All of you, Tanzan, Betty, Nana Dreams. Betty again said, I think the first step is admitting we need to change. Admitting, true. Accepting the fact that we really need change. Nana Dreams also said here, we need to change our mindset. I understand that. Could you explain on that one? Marie also said, not only Africa needs change. That means everyone needs change. True. It really depends on how Africa struggles for change. You could explain that one. Okay, Marit has already ordered the book. Chrissy, you said you defer to, I beg to differ with you on generalizing that Africans don't like change. To be honest, if we really like change, we could have done it by far. That's what I believe, and convince me otherwise. Chrissy, I like challenge. And Chrissy Etienne again said most Africans want to, but the avenues are stifled by many factors, including politically, economically, socially, etc. That's change. So change affects everything: politics, economics, everything. Change. When you talk about change, it doesn't just affect something. You have to be able to change the political system, the economy. You have to change the education. That's what we're talking about. When Africa is all about change, and therefore Africans need to be conscious enough to break away from that chain of bondage. True, thank you. Chrissy, yes, we need to be conscious of the challenges and see the vicious cycle of our choices. Bemnet Segeye, you've been also on this show, and I would like to, I would be expecting you. It's not only fear, we have this deep-seated self-doubt. We're brainwashed to believe we don't somehow deserve greatness. Oh yeah, true, Beatty, true. I agree with you 100%. Okay, so we have to change. Hope said we have to change. It's now or never. True again. Tanzan, yes, indeed, Dr. Ebenezer, we need to remember our brave men and women who fought for African people. We do. We really need to. We really need to. And Johnny Johnson, I'm willing to risk my life. And I have on several occasions in Congo, Rwanda, Guinea, Burundi, Ethiopia, Liberia, fighting Ebola, Goma, Zaire, an African from the West, American, Jamaican. Johnny, appreciate it. We appreciate that. Oh, Johnny Johnson also in 1978 in Brooklyn, New York City. I was able to take Amharic class, Pan-African Forum, given by Bill K. Robinson from Shashamene, land grant, Ethiopian national married to Mr. Gladstone Robinson, original settler. Okay, nice. Okay, here it says, how much are you aware of Ethiopian World Federation globally? You can enlighten us, Johnny Johnson. Macrobia, as much as we like to be one Africa, it's unachievable. African are tribal, and the divisions are too great. Thank you. Actually, when you think about it, the heart, the lung, the kidneys, the skin, the bone, the ligaments, this is for Macrobia. All these parts of our bodies are different from the cells that they're made of. There are doctors in here, Bemnet Segeye and Dr. Beatty Hailu too, so they can help me elaborate. I'm a veterinarian, so I can also work on the basic anatomy here. So all the cells that create every single muscle, every single organ are different. They're different. For example, you can go to the nerve, you can see the neurons. You don't find them in the heart. You know, they don't make the heart. They make only the nerve. So Africa has tribes. Africa has lived with tribes. You see, Macrobia, this is the answer for you. Africa is not tribal. Africa lived with tribes, with diversity. Europe doesn't know diversity. Europe doesn't know tolerance. For Europe, it's black and white. For Africa, it has always, since day one, has been diversity. Africa has been diversified, Macrobia. So for you to claim that Africa it's unachievable, good. Good. I'm glad you see it that way, because I believe it's achievable, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show it to you that we can achieve it. And the fact that this platform exists is going to tell you that it's achievable. Mika is from Tanzania. I'm from Ethiopia. There are people from all over the world in this platform coming together to make One Africa a reality. We just needed the motivation, and we're going to do it. We just need to uplift spirits, and we're going to achieve it. Not because it seems far-fetched, because it was our way of life. See, for Europe and for the West, it was individualism. For us, it's communal life. See, in Ethiopia, until the arrival of the missionaries, the arrival of the foreign influencers, when you go to the rural area, if you ask for water, they give you milk. That was the story. But now we're left not to trust each other. That's superimposition on us. We need to break that chain, and we're going to do it. So, Macrobia, that's my answer to you. Anyone can jump in and answer. I'm going to share the link right now. We don't have to be the same to become one. Thank you, Betty, because I'm going to take you to the Bible verse where it says, a man shall live his father and mother, or his father, shall be bonded to his wife, and they shall become one. But do they physically become one? No. They're female and male, but they become one in that institution called marriage. So that's it. That's what Betty here said. We don't have to be the same to be one. We're not asking you to be similar. Unity is not similarity. Unity is not homogeneity. You know, like you don't become one color, you don't become one language speaker, you don't become one culture holder, you don't become one faith holder. You become everything that you have, and you weaponize that against every propaganda that stands against Africa. That's unity. So when you're united, you stand together, you're strong. Divided, you fall. So, Macrobia, that's my answer for you. So I'm gonna share the link. Johnny Johnson is sharing. I think Johnny Johnson will come here and share with us. I have shared the link. You can officially come in and join the StreamYard. We can go live together, and we can. I'm willing to accept challenges, questions, everything that you have to offer, and everything that I have to correct. I'll stand corrected before you even come. I'm accepting the challenge. So, guys, join in. And Johnny, in reality, all peoples on Earth, planet are African. As far as DNA, genotypes, and phenotypes, we are the first people to inhabit planet Earth. Game over. Johnny Johnson, true. And we're the nicest people too. Dr. Anita Cheikh Diop, carbon dating DNA expert from Senegal on YouTube. We'll check that one too. It doesn't have copyright and all those things. So join in. I'll be waiting for all of you. Tanzan, Marie, Betty, Bemnet, Chrissy, Johnny Johnson. I'll be waiting for you guys to join in, and so that we can have this conversation about the change that needs to happen in Africa, and the change that we really need to impose on Africa and Africans. We need to work towards that one. So let's just hit the StreamYard button and come. Marie Antoinette is here. Marie. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to let Marie add to the stream. And Marie, you can go ahead. Marie? I'm gonna add her again and remove this.
Hello.
Hi, Marie. Sorry, Marie Antoinette.
Hello, Dr. Benito.
You hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Okay. This was a perfect presentation. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I think one of the reasons for lack of a sense of urgency is the fact that many of us do not pay attention to world events. If more of us did, that in itself would cultivate a greater sense of urgency among our people. That is one of the major reasons that we don't see the importance of change. If we saw how exploitative the the international stage truly is, there would be a greater sense of urgency. But many people are just living their lives with only the daily concerns. And well, the main reason given for that is that survival is challenging, so it takes all our attention. But somehow in our communal gatherings, instead of talking about trivial things, maybe we need to focus a little more on world events and how they are relevant to us.
True. True. So basically, Marie, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So am I saying your name correctly?
Marie Antoinette, Marie, it's fine. I'm fine. Yeah, that's
Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, you can say Marie.
Okay, Marie. So change needs to happen. I mean, it's happening all over the world right now. Things are changing. The economy is, the inflation and all those things. We're going through chaos, a chaotic economy currently because of the war going on everywhere in Europe. When you see how much affected we are and how far we've come, like to be dependent on the peace and stability of Europe, to be dependent on the peace and stability of Ukraine and Russia. We were so dependent on that one. We didn't even secure food for ourselves. So the need for change. So you believe it's urgent and important, right?
Definitely.
All right. Is there anything that you say, like, because do you think did you think I generalized Africa entirely, that we don't want change, or am I wrong on that topic, or is it kind of hasty generalization, like like wrong information? Is it true or false? I mean, just simple as that.
No, I don't think you said anything that was false. I know some people would probably maybe take offense because they in their lives are trying to be the change that Africa needs, but it's not something that enough people are involved in for the. We're really at a crisis stage, and some people haven't grasped that as yet.
Okay. So what do you think is holding us back? I mean, when you look at us, to change, what's holding us back?
One of the things is the class divide. It seems as though the people who are engaged in academic pursuits are taking this seriously, and some of the others who are more focused on entertainment are not taking it seriously.
So people on academics and people on entertainment are not taking it seriously.
No, they're not, and it should be filtering down into our entertainment instead of singing only what sells. The time, this is such a crucial time that we really should be focusing on this topic, even in our entertainment, in the lyrics of songs, and that's how people are mobilized. It takes energy of the masses to effect change. It can't be just a few brilliant minds seeing the need for it, and the others are just having fun.
True, because we've said this before. We've come up with, me and Mika, when we started live streaming, we communicated this so much, and I remember me and him agreeing on this point. When you go, for example, to the United States, there is this movement that's saying Black Lives Matter, and all those things. And I know it has never been easy on Black people and our brothers living there. It's never been easy for them. We know that. But funnily, you don't see the wealth, the riches going to the Black people. You can see it, but the wealth is not there. That it's only in the entertainment industry that you see the most of the Black people joining in, like you said. So even in their screams haven't been heard. They've been screaming out loud through the media and through the films they make, but they haven't been perfectly heard. That's what I believe in. So we really need to work on that one. So we need to rebrand Africa through the media and through the art industry. I'm gonna add Tanzan, and she's gonna be joining us. Tanzan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Ebenezer. Greetings, Maria Antoinette.
Hi, Tanzan.
Good to be here.
Good to see you.
Yeah, it's always good to hear your voice. Right, Tanzan?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
Right. What do you have to say?
Well, I do agree with Maria Antoinette and you, and that was an excellent presentation, by the way. I don't know if you can post it or you can share it on the stream, but it's I think it's one that everybody needs to have, in front of their faces every day. And like Maria Antoinette said, this is an urgent situation, and we're still not really seeing the urgency of it. The world is ending, and we're simply just going on as if everything is as it was before. And I think that there is a need for a new class of, I don't know if it's called leaders, influencers, whatever it is, whether it's people in the entertainment, because you can change people's minds in, I would say maybe in 5 years, and you can change young people's minds even sooner than that, because they're willing to accept new things and they're more malleable to change. And if you look at Africa's population, we have the greatest percentage or the greatest number of young people, even earlier in the show today. So people who say, oh, it's not possible, those are people who are resistant to change. If you say something is not possible, that means that you're saying that whatever is what will always be. And that says that you can't change. Therefore, you have this attitude of being defeatist. Somebody, in order to enact change, you have to believe that it's actually possible. And a lot of the times we have seen before, when we see, something that is revolutionary, it's somebody who saw things and said, well, I don't like the way things are, or things could be better. And once you say that, then you start finding how you can improve things. But to just say, oh, we've always, even if it's true, and you are right when you say that we are a diverse people, not tribalistic. Tribalism, in fact, is something that came very recently. I would say maybe in the last, since we were colonizers, in the last 100 or so years. But we have always been diverse before we were, tribalistic. So if we were that way for that long, and if something could change us in less than 100 years, that means that same thing could be reversed in that amount of time, or even shorter. So to just give up hope and say, oh, well, that's who we are, that's who, we're never going to change. That to me is somebody who is very short-sighted and somebody who hasn't really seen the history of not just Africa, but of the world. Changes have come very quickly, very rapidly, and sometimes for the good, sometimes not so much. But even when we look at, the recent changes in the world, look at even the international health crisis and the war. Nobody could have predicted this if, 5 years ago, that the world was going to go through such rapid changes. And, people who were comfortable in how they were, a lot of them right now are suffering economically, financially, psychologically, and so on. So even having that mentality that change can come at any time and you should be prepared, that gives you an edge over somebody who's, just comfortable or just sees things as they are and they always be. So, yeah.
So you believe in the need for change. You do accept the need for change.
Yes, I definitely do. Not just the need for it, but also the propagation of it, the promotion of it. And when you're talking about how you're presenting your, you had your presentation and all these ideas, and Mika was also working on his, and that is just, that example of this wave of change that's coming. People see the need for it, and even if they don't, there's an unconscious wave coming out that, two people could have the same mindset. And this is why this kind of platform and conversations are important, because it brings together people who are going in the same direction, and they help each other, on their way, and other people as well. Sometimes, we go through things, individually, or we have these thoughts and ideas, but those ideas can gain momentum once we put them all together, and we have all these different ideas coming. So I believe that we should be, prophets of change. And even prophecy is a change. It's saying something different is happening, something different is coming, and if you're not prepared for it, you're going to be lost. Noah was an agent of change. He saw the change before it came, and he prepared for it. He built the ship, and he told people, look, there's a flood coming, and the people looked around and said, nah, there's no flood coming, stop playing. But he prepared for it, and even if a flood didn't come, he was already prepared for it. He had also already gathered his material and his stock and his family. And so whether it came or not, he was prepared. It's not to say that, oh, tomorrow the world is going to end. No, that's not, what being ready for change is. It's just saying that whatever happens, you're ready to face it and you're going to adapt. So yeah, change is very necessary. And when you ask the question, what would happen if we don't change? You're right, we are going to go extinct already. One of the reasons why we're still, is stagnant, a lot of us as individuals and as countries, is because we're not willing to change systems that maybe worked, some time ago. Maybe they were good for our grandparents and our parents. But if we continue with the same system in a different and changing world, then it is us who are going to go extinct, and we're not going to pass what we got from our parents, because when they were going through those ideas and experiences, it was new to them. But by the time it comes to us, those ideas are already in need of modification, in need of some tweaking and some changing, and it's up to us to do that. You can't just say accept everything that was given to you and not make it even slightly better. So
sure. So the need for change is there. The change actually happening is there, because Mika was preparing this video, and I saw just a small amount today. I didn't even see it. I wanted to sit down with the viewers, and just the 7 minutes, I just wanted to be part of it. So I just saw the beginning, and I said, you know what, later he told me to play it before the show. So I decided, let me just listen there. Because I've been thinking about change. We can talk about potential. We can talk about the potential that we have. We can talk about the resources that we have. We can keep talking. But as long as we don't utilize them, we don't change towards, the most interesting thing is many grown countries like Australia, like Canada or America or Europe, they don't, the food industry, for example, wheat farming, barley farming, cattle farming, the feed industry, the milk farming, chicken farming, they're not controlled by foreigners. They're controlled by indigenous people, people who are there to make sure that that country's food security doesn't fall into another hand. On the other hand, when you come to Africa, everything is defined for us according to European standards. Everything is defined for us by European investors. And the more you depend on food for others, then as long as you're not stuffed, and if your food is coming from outside, then you're actually dependent on the entire world to feed you. So you cannot impose change. So I saw the opportunities and I said, there is an opportunity. There are opportunities. But the question is, we need to change our ways. As long as we give them the food industry, then we're not safe and secure. That's my way of thinking. What do you think?
And to go back to what an earlier quote you were saying about the devil whispered in my ear about the change, and I said, I am the storm. Not only should we, be prepared for change, we should actively be working towards it. We cannot just sit back and say, oh, well, I'm prepared, but, we'll see what happens. You are the one who is supposed to be preparing, and other people will see what happens, So that's also another mentality, that proactive, bringing about change, that not just being adaptable to it, just saying, oh, you're ready. That's one aspect of it, but also being the person who does want to effect that kind of change, because change is going to happen inevitably. Nothing will ever be the same. Not even you, like you were saying, you as a human being, you can't just say, oh, well, I am 16 years old. This is the best age to be, and this is the age I'm going to be forever. It might be nice. It might be, you're at your peak and you're happiest, but you cannot stop time. You cannot stop, getting older. You cannot stop, like you said, a woman pregnant, her body is going to change. So these are changes that are inevitable. So either you adapt to them and prepare for them, as on a personal level. As a child, you like, oh, what do you want to be when you get older? That's preparing for that future change. You're not going to be a child forever. You're not going to be a young man forever, and so on. So being that proactive, that you are going to be the agent of change in your life, that's even more powerful than even saying, oh, whatever changes, I'm going to adapt. So not only adapt, but being, that person who creates that sort of change. So
true. Actually, yeah. The issue also remains on. I want you to answer this question, then I'll go to Marie, and also I would like to ask her the same question, because when you look at Africa, we don't have the commitment, especially the youth. I work around young people, and I'm young, and I have this conversation all the time with people on excelling in life. We have to be excellent. So I started training the youth in my local church to become excellent in their life, excellent in their perceptions, excellent in many aspects of their life. So, but while working on that, people will always tell you they want to leave Africa. They don't want to be in this. I hate to use the word. Many people call it like the shithole. I don't want to be here. I don't want to. It's impossible. It's. I don't know. It's kind of. It makes me fade sometimes, and I get really irritated and agitated when I think about it. And so they kind of make your fight, your struggle, just go into, become into nothing. Just multiply everything by zero, and then it becomes zero. So what took that commitment? How do we need to work towards, a committed generation, a committed, diligent generation who's willing to because you said I think on the last week, you said, not last week, on the second session, you said, we need to celebrate our heroes. That's where I'm going to take you back. Do you think it's related, not knowing our heroes, not knowing what they sacrificed, what they did for us? Is it making us weak and easily willing to leave our continent and our country just fast and go into somewhere comfortable?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is one difference that I see between Africa and other places. Even in the sciences, let's even not even talk about politics and history for now. Even in the sciences, what do European and American scientists do when they come up with an idea? They name it after themselves. You have Newton's law, you have Hertz's law, you have Gauss's principle, you have Euler's number. These are all named after people and individuals. So whatever, if you're in STEM, you're going to know these people by their names. You're going to, every time you hear them, you're going to be celebrating somebody else's achievement. So they don't leave it up to chance and say, oh, well, my contribution is just, these ideas. They actually contribute their person, and we have to remember them every time we use these laws. So we sometimes we are too humble. We don't give ourselves the credit that we need. You're talking about a doctor in Ethiopia who was welcomed. A prophet is not welcomed in his home. That goes so much for Africa than for other places. Other people celebrate their heroes. They celebrate the men of ideas, even the ones who are terrible, even the ones who are wrong. People, when you look at some of their personal lives, you just wonder what kind of people these people are, and yet they are celebrated amongst their people. So we do give ourselves a disservice when we not only celebrate our people, our ideas, but also our heroes, the people who discovered things. We have young people right now who are coming up with these new innovations and coming up. All these things are just taken over by foreign companies because we don't even give those ideas the names to those ideas. We just incorporate them as part of the greater humanity, instead of claiming that no, this is Ethiopian science, this is Togolese medicine, this is Congolese architecture. So we're really lacking in that, and the result of that is that our young people don't appreciate what we have, because if you're young and you come up with a great idea, who's going to celebrate you? Who's going to give you the kudos? Even in sports, people don't just play sports to be fit. People play sports to be famous, to be celebrated, to be shown off to the world. So if you just do something and nobody recognizes it, what is the point of doing it? What is half the point of doing it? Part of it is the personal aspect, but the second aspect of it is so that you can gain the recognition and respect from other people. And if we don't give that to each other, then people will not be loyal. So I definitely do agree that we should give more credence and more respect to our people, not just in history, but also in the ideas department, in technology, in all these things. If somebody does something to be celebrated, we should praise them, to the ends of the world, name the streets after them, name even that idea after them. If somebody came up with a way to, let's say, to make water better, that would be called the Kamau system of water filtration, whatever it is. Let's start doing that. Those may seem like small steps, but it's these small things that make those huge differences. Is that idea of, even in America, the idea of manifest destiny, whether it's true or not, that idea, once it's inculcated into the people, that is what is going to drive future generations. So one thing is, and also this idea of leaving Africa, it's a very detrimental idea, because you're leaving it for what? If you don't build your own home, and even if your home is dirty, it's poor, it's all of these things, if you go to somebody else's home, you're not going to be able to call it your own. You can't be proud of something that you have not built. So instead of leaving your home and being ashamed of it, build it and make it better for even for yourself. Make it something that, even if it's not something that you're going to say, oh, mine is better than so and so, you can say, I did this in my home, I improved it the one way or another. So for people who want to live, all I can say is you can leave your home, but you're not going to get the respect that you want. You're still going to be a stranger in somebody else's home, and your home is still going to be there. You're going to leave your home poorer. So even when you come back, you're still not going to have a home to have. So basically, you're going to be a nomad and a stranger to the world. You're going to be like Cain. You left Eden, you left your paradise, and you go somewhere else. Even if you go to the richest place, it's still not your place. Nobody's going to respect you for coming into somebody else's home and claiming it as yours. You might be comfortable, but like we said, change requires you to get out of your comfort zone. It doesn't tell you to go somewhere more comfortable. It says make yourself, get out of your comfort zone and make it better. So, yeah.
So Marie, if you're there, Can you jump into the question?
I think one of the reasons that we have difficulty appreciating the achievements of Africans is the colonial influence has established the crab and barrel syndrome. And that's why we could praise someone from the West, but we have great difficulty showing respect to someone who has achieved in our continent.
Mm-hmm.
And that, of course, also results in a lack of unity as well. The envy that pervades our society is one of the biggest hindrances to our achieving our objectives.
So we need to work on appreciating our innovators, inventors,
Definitely.
people who are trying in the science or in the
Definitely.
we need to work on motivating the youth.
Yes, that is one of the reasons that we have not utilized more the strides that they have made.
Exactly, true. I agree on that one with you, because we haven't. We do have the resources, like I said. We do have the potential. Potential has never been the question. It has never been in the question, but we haven't been able to use it. We haven't been able to utilize it properly. And when you look at it, when there is, what do you call it? The inability to adapt to change, to changing environment, to changing world, instead of changing into it. Because earlier in the WhatsApp channel, I had a conversation with Bridge Francis from the Caribbean. You know who may be in the live stream. And
Yes, I do.
yeah, so you know he sent a picture of military equipments being sent to Africa and Saudi Arabia and also Yemen and Ukraine. Every day he sees that and he said he feels so sad. And I told him, what if we just change the sadness? Yeah, like we feel so sad when weapons are sold to us. When you buy a weapon, it's an opportunity to develop that weapon to protect your people, your continent, your resource against foreign invasion. So I told him, like, what if we just take the weapon instead of fighting with it? Let's take it, let's develop it, let's know how to defend it, let's know how to build it. Then he was actually surprised. He said, I didn't see it that way. I felt bad because it's, fueling the war that's happening there. Yes, it is fueling the war, but you can change the outcome of the war. The war is not going to stop anytime soon. It doesn't feel that way. It scares you off, but you can capitalize on the materials that you receive and work on them and in developing them. And there are lots of inventors that are coming up with drones, planes. If you give them access to these kind of technology, then they will have the access to develop African, African way of developing weaponries and to protect Africa from foreign invasion. So we do need to change. We do, yeah. All right, Marie, go on.
Part of the problem is that the political will is not there. For certain leaders, it is not in their best interest to have a strong population. And that is why they themselves do not want to see us thinking in this way. I agree with you 100% on your idea concerning the weaponry. They don't even trust us with weaponry.
True. They don't. That's it. Then what? This is the hindrance. We don't have. Not only that, we have self-doubt. So that's where we're going right now. We doubt ourselves. We doubt each other. We doubt. When Ethiopia becomes a superpower, Kenya is afraid. When Kenya becomes a superpower, Egypt is afraid. When Egypt becomes superpower, everybody's afraid. So This is the vicious circle. I'm going to invite Bemnet in. Dr. Bemnet Zegayes will be joining us. So, Bemnet, welcome to the show. How are you?
They themselves do not want to see us thinking in the. I agree with you.
Yes, I can hear you.
on your idea concerning the West.
You have YouTube open, I think. So. Okay, yeah, good. Now I can hear you.
Sorry.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Just spit it out. Spit what you're feeling about today's session, and then we can go to the questions.
All right. So, sorry. It was an interesting show again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So it's a very big topic. I think we need to talk about it again and again to reach into like common goals, common values, and common purposes. And I think if we continue, it might seem very long. It might seem unachievable, but I think we can achieve it, and at least we can start towards it, I believe. And it should happen at some point, because we cannot keep going on with the current situation. And yeah, that's what I believe. Yes.
Yeah, true. So that you believe and you accept the need for change.
Of course.
Perfect. All right. Now I'm gonna. I want you to stay there. I'm gonna invite Ezra. I think it's Education Forward or Ezra. I think it's Ezra. Hi.
Hey. Hi, guys. Hey, Dr. Abani.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
Professor Ezra.
Yeah, hi.
Professor Ezra is here. Ezra, what do you think?
Oh, this is it's a great topic. I mean, I think the change theme fits perfectly into your kind of the gist of the direction of your topic, which is, to me, what I see is like potential is like everything has potential, right? Even the rocks that don't have any consciousness have potential. Have potential to harm or even or build or construct or deconstruct. So, but how do you activate potential to reality? It's a conscious effort, right? The consciousness is the issue, and so you when you talk about motivation, I mean, there are different kind of motivations, right? But the ultimate type of motivation is the one that's inherent, that is activated from within. So essentially, even motivation itself is a type of potential. It's an instrument, at the same time also a trapped energy. It's an instrument of opening up your potential for creation, your potential for innovation, your potential for building, constructing, innovating. That's so motivation in its own, it channels your attitude, channels your determinations, your resilience. It's a kind of like the catalyst for all of those things, but it's also a potential by itself. So because it's a potential in that it can be locked in there, not be activated, because we choose not to activate it. So a lot of the time people are trapped in motivation that comes from outside, or motivation that comes from fear, worry, or being seen this way or that way. So that is I think this. So there's a lot to unpack in this area, in this aspect, and I think you are onto an incredible space here, so basically what you're trying to do is, how do we operationalize a vision of one Africa? So that's where we are. We already agree we want one Africa, but the process of operationalizing requires an activated agents that are out there, that are pursuing and pushing this agenda of one Africa with singular purpose. We know, singularly focused on it, and in doing so, you're looking for you're looking to operationalize what is already a consensus around which we need a united Africa. I think we've done countless shows on why united Africa is important, and I think we've beaten the issue to death and for months, if not for years, on why a united Africa is essential. But without those agents that are agents of change and agents of action, agents of creation out there doing the work that is necessary to be done, it's not going to come to fruition. We can just talk about it forever without necessarily moving an inch forward. But to move even an inch forward, you need that activated person. And the activated person need to realize their potential for actually operationalizing aspect of a united Africa. And so that's, I think, to me, so there's a lot to say about it, but I just wanted to say a few things like that, and I'll let other people kind of step in and then share your perspective.
I'm gonna come back to you, Professor Ezra. I'm gonna go to Bemnet, then I'm gonna go to Tanzan. So the bigger picture here, Bemnet, is the need for change to achieve the greater goal that's called the One Africa. And we need to monitor that, and we need to work towards it, and then we need to exercise what One Africa is. I mean, I've been giving assignments last time. I've heard people, they want to stay poor. Some people choose poverty over wealth because they believe that wealth is, this I believe is the wrong indoctrination of the biblical verses that were used against Africans when the colonizer first arrived. So we really need to be conscious when we talk about these things. And I'm expecting, at the same time, I'm expecting Sam, Beatty, and Johnny Johnson to join us, and also at the same time, be part of this show and help us understand what we need to do to change. Because I can see that these guys are really busy talking about which part of your brain is adapting to, the forebrain or the hindbrain and stuff. They're talking about these things. They can help us understand better, because Bemnet is also a physician and Beatty is also a physician. I don't know about Sam, if you can tell us. It's kind of interesting to understand the human brain. This is because change is related to the human brain. So Bemnet, what do you think about change? Why are we still here where we are? How are we not moving forward? And these questions that I've been asking about change, you've been listening to them. So do we really need change?
Yes, so yeah. Just before me, Professor Ezra has raised very good points, and yes, of course, it is not a question. I think we all agree that we need the change, but also, if it is not an individual goal. When, for example, if I want to change myself, it is easier than this kind of a very large population kind of agenda. So he has been saying earlier that in order to change, first we need to understand the why. Why is the question. What we need to start with the why. Why is it necessary? Of course, we agree on the bigger picture, but we need to have also others to join us, and we have to make this we need to make the why very clear, so that we can have the larger population with us, because it is not as easy as an individual goal. You know, you can plan things in life. For example, for myself, I plan things, and then, you know, I try to achieve it. If it is really, if I understand my why I do need that specific goal, then it is easier also, you know, to achieve it. So we need, you know, I have been talking on your show last time about the stories. So in most of the great countries, when we see history, how they come to be one of the great nations in the world is through their stories. And we need to make sure that our why is very clear on those stories that we tell. Those stories that we tell to ourselves, for our children, or, you know, for the individuals we meet. And and also in this channel, I think. Yes, we need to decide the narrative, and the narrative should be, and we have to believe in the same kind of, in a similar kind of narrative. We have to come into a common ground to say that to agree that this is, you know, this is our why. This is, you know, we will start with that, and then when we agree with it, then we will tell the stories. The narrative should be ours. You know, the problem that we are in, the current problem is that we are not living in our narration. You know, those narrations that we have been told and we know are not ours, and sadly we believe it. And, you know, that causes the current situation in Africa. So that is what, you know, I think on the comment section, it was Chrissy, I think he or she was talking about the consciousness. We have to be conscious of the things that we believe, and we have to ask whether, is it right? Is it, you know, is it something acceptable that we are believing? Because we sometimes believe in very weird things, and that makes us also to decide on things that we don't really know and we don't have a proof of. And you know, the Western or the Western community is, you know, much in a much better position now, because, you know, they can guide us in the way that they want us to think, based on the stories that they tell us. And we are so focused on the stories they tell us, they provide us. And how many individuals are there in Africa that really focus on African shows, African TV? We always follow their, like, even in our childhood, there are like, I can only talk about Ethiopia, of course. You know, in my when I grow up, I only have very few hours of Ethiopian shows, and most of it is pictured with you know, filled with the Western media. And also, yeah, so that should be our goal, I think. Also using our media to tell the stories, and to also picture what kind of Africa do we want. If we can create what we want, but if we can clearly describe it, and you know, we can make a picture of it. If we are just talking about, you know, yes, of course, there has been shows of talking about what kind of Africa we wanted to create, but we have to make more. We have to make it so detailed, so that we know each steps, and then we would go forward. That's what I believe. Yes, and after we know that why we are doing this, and then what we are going to do about it will be much clearer. That is what I believe in. Thank you. Yes, I can let others talk, and then I can come back.
Thank you, Bemna. Thank you very much. Hold on there. I'll come back to you. I'm going to go to Tanzan, then I'm going to go to Marie Antoinette, and then Professor Isra is here too, so I'm going to go to him. I'm going to hear your your points. So Bemnet here suggested understanding the why and deciding on the narratives is going to help us. So Tanzan, you're full of ideas. Hit it with something.
No, I'm just building and what everybody has said, and great points, great points. Just to to get back to the change concept. And man, it's like you and Mika were on the same path. That's why I said earlier, great minds just thinking alike, separately but alike. So his concept of change to change, as I understand it, obviously he can explain it better, but to me, change to change is this. Sometimes we wait for change, we wait for somebody to come and change things. We complain about, the government is not doing that, or this foreign people come and do this and that, so some of those things may be true. But if we want something to be done, we can either talk about it or we can do it. And you can only do what you can. You cannot, tomorrow when we wake up, the world is going to be perfect. So the only person that you have the greatest change over is yourself. So when you start to change yourself, then you can start saying, well, I did this, even though things are not perfect, this is what I have done. And that gives us that, responsibility, that accountability. So it starts with you as a person. It starts personally. If you have even small goals, if your goal is, to get up and run or walk, or, like Yenatan followed Melati's example of going for a walk. And that's a good thing. You motivate each other. Somebody just decided, well, I'm going to start walking, and somebody sees that change and sees it's a good thing. And that's how we all change individually. It doesn't have to be this big, revolutionary global thing. It can get there, but it always starts with the person. And we can look at what others have done and take the good things that they do and leave out the bad. We can look at that individualistic mindset, because in the West it's very individualistic. It's just you, even that manifest destiny, go West, young man, it behooves the individual to go and grab their destiny and become the best person or the richest person they could be. So it always started with you, but at the same time you did it because of the the greater good of the country. So all that change starts with us. And I think as Africans, we have been too complacent. We have been too much reliant on even prayer and appeals to the government and authority. Those ones are good too, but that's not all that you do. Even if you pray, you have to get up and do work. You can't just pray for the poverty to go away. You actually have to go and feed the poor. That will do a lot more than just hoping and wishing. So it starts with a thought, but it ends with action. And I think that, if we put that responsibility on individuals, even the government will start to take notice. If people just suddenly, let's say started taking care of their farms or looking after their children or organizing or taking care of the things that we expect other people to take care of, even those people, even if they don't feel ashamed, they'll take notice and say, oh, what's going on here? So this change yourself first, and then the world will change. That encompasses both the responsibility and that taking things into your own hands, and not always waiting for being that change, being that storm that the world is waiting for, and not being afraid, because sometimes when we complain, it's out of fear. It's out of fear that we can't do it by ourselves, or we can't be that change. But when we say that I'm going to change, just to pick a small goal. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to start with something big. It could even be just, for 1 week, I am going to, to talk to people more, or I'm going to stop swearing, or I'm going to start doing something. That's why you have these, festivals and celebrations and even the religious practices, because that is what builds that discipline. That is what, and I remember earlier you were talking about, was it discipline, commitment? Yeah, that's it. That personal habit, when you instill it in yourself, it gives you the motivation to do even more. Yeah, when you're able to fast for a whole day, and even a month at a time, when you're able to set it aside, the easy things in life, the easy desires, then it makes you be able to focus on the bigger goals. So it starts small, but it always becomes much bigger than we thought. So that change yourself, the change begins with yourself, but it ends, spreading to a lot more people. So Yes, I'll hand over the mic.
Great point you raised, because I want to add something to that one. You said trying to change, being the change to change. So, that trial of change gives you an opportunity to actually make mistakes, to actually fail or succeed. If you don't try, you wouldn't know what try. Like if you're not failing and trying, then at least you haven't taken any step towards. When you touched that point, what I understood was like change to change. So if we change to change, at least we give it a try. We give it a try. Like you said, it doesn't have to be a big deed that has to be done. It can be a small deed. It could be helping some group of students somewhere who cannot afford to go to school, some group of students who cannot afford to attend university. This is a small deed done, which actually affects and teaches you where you can get it makes you resourceful when you try. So that's, I think, that's an amazing point that you raised. I want to go to Maria Antoinette.
Yes, I was having trouble with my internet connection. I'm seeing some encouraging activity concerning food sovereignty on the continent. For example, in Kenya, there was a project in which 80,000 holes were dug, and this converted very arid land into fertile land again. And we need to motivate each other to do more of that across the continent. And of course, this would have to be adapted because right now certain areas are experiencing drought. So that is certainly something. I'm not too sure exactly how to get more people to engage in that sort of activity. But food sovereignty is definitely something we have to look at.
We really need to work on that. You do believe that we really need to work on that one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. I'm gonna go to Professor Ezra. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So, I think like I wanted to stress one point that you make in your conversation, and then in your earlier opening session, the opening part of your session, which is the need to tie down what we do to that of the greater goal, to the larger goal of One Africa, that continuous reminder and continuous reinforcement of the ideas that we are fighting for. And I think at the same time, what's the name? Is it Dr. B? Is it
Bemnet?
Bemnet. Okay.
Yeah, Bemnet.
Sorry for that, Bemnet. So she was pointing to the need to really understand or appreciate the why aspect of things. To me, a lot of the times, so I want to tie the two parts together and kind of like maybe provide maybe my own personal insights into it. Is I think like my experience is that it's so easy for people to know what they want and quickly jump into how to get what they want, really without necessarily really zeroing in on the why, which is essentially basically the rationale behind everything that you do. Sometimes you do things without reason, but there's a reason that conscious, aware of, or you're conscious of it, but you haven't verbalized them, or you have verbalized them, but you haven't demonstrated commitment to them, or you have verbalized them, or you have shown demonstrate. But rationales are always, they dictate the fundamental vibrations of everything in the universe. Like everything happens for a particular reason, for a set of reasons. There are reasons that underline, there are rationales that underline all things. But so asking the question why is the easiest kind of route to getting to the rationale of why we want united Africa. And then, you know, sometimes we get in the weeds of the how, or in the weeds of what. Oh, the problem is the problem is this. The problem is usually that's what, okay? And the how is like, oh, what is the solution then? How can you go about it? How can you do this? And how can you do this? So people get into the weeds of those two things, but because you haven't figured out the why, you get stuck with having little or no motivations. Or even when you have motivation, it is like running a combustion engine with, you know, with water. You know, it just doesn't fuel sufficiently the car to move any further. So rationale, the reasoning behind is a good instrument for trying to understand inherent motivations. So on the spectrum of motivations, there are usually considered to be about 4 of them, and the ultimate ones, the ones that yield the highest level of sustained level of commitment to something, are the one that closely aligned to inherent character, or if not, like sometimes it's hard to get to the inherent. I mean, there's the DNA, the building motivation, but sometimes if you don't get there, it takes time to get there. It takes a lot of kind of stronger personality and character to get there. But if you're not there, the best one is usually value aligned kind of motivation that's, even if you're not sure exactly what you truly believe in, what the reason behind it, or you don't have this true sense of motivation that comes from your sense of worth, a sense of self. But if you have an alignment with a value, with a set of value, with a set of kind of outcomes, that you have a set of vision, you believe that's important, and then you make everything necessary to get it there. So those motivations, the way to get them is the question of why. Do a great job. So you don't get into the weeds of how to do this, or you don't get into the weeds of what is ailing you, what is that. So if you listen carefully in most conversations in African issue or even a global issue, most people gravitate either they are gravitating on the diagnosis of what the issue is, or they are gravitating on the complexity and the difficulty of, oh, we should have been doing this one, not this one. We should have taken this step, not this step. Or that's like, yeah. And most of the times people are in that kind of like sticky areas where you kind of like muddy and sticky areas where you cannot really sufficiently galvanize the inherent energy that is trapped in each and every creation in the universe. You cannot open that. You cannot activate those things. You cannot activate energy. You cannot activate potentials with just figuring out. For example, if I tell you the problem with Ethiopia's education is that we don't invest enough in it, it's probably an accurate diagnosis, but it doesn't lend by itself a solution.
Mm-hmm.
But if I tell you the reason Ethiopia's education is for this, that usually lends itself to solution more than to the initial diagnosis of. Or if I tell you, the problem is that we don't pay our teachers enough, that's usually getting stuck in the weeds of how. So you're like, that's essentially the simplest. No, I know it's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but to make, for the sake of clarification and clarity here, so we need to really like Bemnet's point about why, And then your point about aligning something to some value, to some vision, to some outcome, they are the crux of the solutions that we're talking about when we want to tap into potential. Potential, before I let somebody else come in, I think these people always kind of like try to, like we for the sake of analysis and for the, because of lack of language or sophistication of language, probably 500 years from now, we'll probably have a sophistication enough in our language to be able to explain what I'm about to explain. But to me, I think like, but people know when I explain to you, you would know what I'm talking about. That it's so easy to look at a person, and so easy to look at a rock, and so easy to look at an entity, an object, and to automatically fall into the trap of understanding the object for the object, not realizing that the objects are not always entirely just object. They are sentient beings. The sentient beings are much more nuanced and much more. So human agency, for example, the agency of each and every one of us have inherent agency. The extent of how well we use that agency individually or as a community differs. It depends on many factors, but we all have some degree of agency. Whether we decide to wake up a certain time or go to bed at a certain time, eat what food. So that the agency is the ability to cause an action, an action that you believe that is aligned with you. So what that does is that it determines the extent to which a potential can be understood, and a potential can be exploited, or potential can be expressed and manifest. So potential in of itself is trapped in the prison of that person. So so to unlock that potential, you have to figure out a way to decode and decipher the character, the person, and that usually is comes with the kind of education system that you have. So most of the education system in the world is not interested in tapping on and opening up the potential trapped in a person. It's more interested in kind of reshaping and shaping the person so that it's no longer the potential that they represent. It's more like they are just instruments in the cog and the machinery of production and construction and this all of that. So most of the education doesn't bother itself with is every human potentially something and someone. Could every human potentially have a solution that we have never even thought about a problem? So that we get into that space of oversimplification of like how we can get to potential. And so I wanted to end with that. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully it makes sense.
It does actually make sense.
Yeah.
And it's not only Dr. Bemnet's idea. At the same time, Dr. Betty Hailu in the comment section also, she's been raising that question earlier before. And I want to go to Bemnet because the why is important, and I want to come to your why. Why is One Africa important? Why is it important for you personally and as an Ethiopian? Why is it important? I want to come to you, and I want to go from that one.
Well, it is not a very easy question because because it is we can mention lots of reasons. For me, as a person who likes traveling, I want One Africa to see, to be able to travel freely in Africa. That is one of why we need it for the tourism. When we think about tourism, we think about the RNGs coming and visiting us, but we rarely think about as visiting our own. So that is one reason, but I don't think the whole night will be enough to mention why we need one Africa.
Because your question raised a good point here, not only by you. Also, earlier I had a conversation with Dr. Betty Hailu, and she also said, what's the need for, why is it needed? Why is the change needed for? Okay, let's forget about one Africa. Why is this change needed? Let's not focus on one Africa, because there are lots of advantages to being united and being a united Africa. There's a lot of advantage to it. But let's change the question to, why is the change needed? For what reasons?
Yes, because
let's start from that.
One is because, yes, one is we cannot continue to survive with the division that we are in. We cannot survive. Now it is about survival for me, to unite and to be focused on our potential. We need to use it. You have been mentioning earlier, and also other participants have been mentioning about our potential. Of course, we have the potential, and we cannot use it if we cannot align together, if we keep on fighting, if we are still divided. Lots of parties can shift as what I want to say is that lots of lots of
lots of parties wanted to engage in.
Yes, so we are not focused. We are talking about potential. We are not, we don't have the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be very difficult for us to achieve our goal if we are divided in this way. And if we are thinking about, our tribes, our ethnicity. So we need the unity, and the unity will help us to survive and to try to.
Mm-hmm. Govnet? You're mute, I think. Okay, now.
Sorry. Oh. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So I think that is the point.
I didn't hear you the last part because you mute yourself, and I couldn't hear you. If you can go back from a little bit backward.
So that our unity is needed to survive. That is my point. Yes. That is, I think, my why. Yeah.
This is amazing because you touched also one part earlier. I mentioned change and goal. So we have that goal set up. That's one Africa, a united Africa for a common good. Unity doesn't mean similarity. It doesn't mean one has to assimilate in the other one. It means united for a common goal and for a common purpose in life. So from that, now, the goal is, for example, I want to ask you one thing. In what ways, what are the ways, the thinkings, the attitudes, what are the ways of your thoughts that you need to change? What are the things that you really need to engage on to put this change that we've been talking about into an effect? What do you personally, this is a personal question, what are the things that you as a person, as a physician, can put in to effect this change that we're talking about?
Yes. So the first thing is that I have to accept everyone, that I am now trying to do, to accept and to learn from everyone. We have our own differences, and also not to judge based on those specific differences. So, and most of the stories that I have been, listening, we are told, to classify and to judge others, and we are also told to tolerate others. So, in order to live harmoniously, we need to accept. Tolerating is not enough.
Okay.
That is what I am learning now. That I need to accept. These are the differences that we need, actually. That has been told to us, that are, those differences we are told in a way that the differences are our enemies. But the truth is, those differences are really what we need, and we don't only tolerate the differences, but we need to accept the differences, and we need to accept them and go forward. So, in my personal journey, I am now learning to accept the things I never used to, and also to understand the different stories that the other person is also, the other person also believes in. So it is a very difficult, in a country like us, even when Africa is a very wide continent, but even in a country like us, how divided we are, and how we are told to tolerate each other, and we have never been taught on how to accept one another. And that is my journey now, learning to accept things and individuals and cultures, and that is, I think, the way forward for me.
So on the way forward, we can put, for example, on the things that one of the things that change requires is diligence, commitment, and also perseverance, determination. These are the things that change requires. But on top of that, I'm going to widen the horizon, and I'm going to make it also acceptance, accepting the diversity, accepting the differences in attitudes, difference in views, in perspectives, in the way we perceive things, right?
Yes.
That's good. That's good.
That is important. Yes. And earlier I have been listening to Professor and you talking about in detail of how we can make this change happen, and Professor was explaining a lot of how understanding the why and then follows the problem and how. And also I want to raise a point or add a point on it, that when we want the change, I said it earlier, I think, when we want the change, we have to also see the end and what it looks like. So for me, the question earlier was a bit difficult for me, because I don't know still what kind of end One Africa has, and also that kind of clear picture. For me, I didn't picture it yet, but it is good when we start a journey. It is good to know what the end looks like.
That's good. It's good, because as long as we don't change the narrative, it will be a narrative that someone else wrote for us. Then we'll be reading that narrative again and again. Then we'll be stuck in a vicious circle. So we need to understand the why, to understand the what and the hows and all of the rest, the where to start, all the questions that come with it, the why. Because you raised an amazing question. That I was asked the same question that you asked right now, I was asked earlier. That's why it actually struck me, because why do we need it? Economy. Why do we need it? Military. Why do we need it? Strength.
Yeah, you can
Business
mention
deals.
it a lot.
Lots of things. We can mention a lot of things, but the why is very crucial to us, to where to go, to how to achieve it, and to what to understand at the end of the day.
And we need to define it, because it is also for me it is vague. Now I really want to define it, and
Okay.
sometimes it doesn't come easily. Yeah, that's what I want to say. All right.
Define.
And on your next shows, maybe if you can give us pictures, like what type of, you know, in detail, that what kind of Africa will be with One Africa, like to have the picture, because we in our brain also, lots of participants listening here have different images, including me. But to share similar images is important, and also to see, as you said, it is repeating it again, to see the end of where we are going. That will be interesting to share. And thank you. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Bemnet, because you've raised important questions and you have asked actually the right question. I believe that's the right question that you raised there. We need to have a clear image, clear understanding, that what kind of Africa do we need to see in the future? What is the goal? When we say the goal is one Africa, what is that one Africa? Is it going to be one of as big as the United States of America? Is it going to be just like as the United States of Africa, with one language spoken, different states, different Senate members living in different parts of the USA, and all those things? I think we need to ask those questions. It will help us understand the perspective of viewers, will understand, will have a brighter picture towards a one Africa that we're actually dreaming about. So yeah, I understand your question, and we need to ask. I think this is an assignment that I'm going to be giving for everyone who is following this show, our family, our members, and our patrons, including the beginner, the starter of this show, Mika. I would like to give to everyone as an assignment, so that they take this. What kind of Africa is ahead of us? What are we struggling for? This is what I believe in. If you leave a sniper weapon to someone and just leave them in the wilderness where there is no target, there's no point in carrying the sniper weapon. If we talk about a united Africa, and if we don't see it the same way that I do, same way that you do, the same way that somebody else does, when we talk about a one Africa, somebody has to think of us as one united nation in a common good, in a common goal, in a common purpose. That's, I think, what you were trying to say, Bemnet. So, yeah, point taken. I'm not gonna take Bemnet. Are you there? Is there anything that you want to add?
No, not yet. But I think I'm going to go away. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Bemnet, for making this show happen, and thank you for being part of it. We'll be waiting for you next week, I guess.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Bye. So I'm not gonna say that's it from me. However, I'm gonna go ahead and touch a little bit of the stuff. So we need to define the how, the what, and the where, the when, and the why. Most importantly, understanding the why we're doing this, why we're fighting for one Africa. We need to really come with a clear understanding, not as a One Africa team, as a One Africa viewer. What do you see? So next week when we come here, I want us to think of why we need a united Africa. Why do we need it? What's the goal that you see, the end game that you see when you think of a One Africa forum? Is it just to vent? Is it just to let go of the pressure? Or is it more than that? I want all of you to ask that question to yourself, and ask your neighbors to, ask your friends, ask your colleagues, ask your teammates, ask your friends, family. Is it really important to have a One Africa? Why is it important? Because understanding the why will give you a kind of definition, and grasping all those definitions that you can bring to this platform will help us develop a strategy to achieving it, to where to start, to when to start, how to start it. Because it's very important for us, it's very important for you, it's very important for all Africans all over the world. I believe it is time for Africa to rise, but it is time also to bring all our strategic designers into the deck, all hands on deck, and then start the engine of One Africa moving. Let it be lubricated. Let us put on the ideas, the oil, the grease that's needed for One Africa to become a reality. That one of the things that I saw and I felt was the need for change. So everyone agrees that there is a need for change. But why is it important to change? What's the importance of change for you? When you think of One Africa, what's the importance of One Africa for you personally? Why do you need it? Why does your country need it? Why does your country need to be united with other state members of Africa? Define that, understand that. When you understand that, there is something that I lack, there is something that you lack, there is something that I'm missing, I'm not perceiving correctly maybe. And then when we bring all these ideas together and mash them, then we understand what it means to have a united Africa. I believe I've let out my message out to all of you, and I believe that you understood the concept of change a little bit from my understanding, my perspective. I believe One Africa is going to be real soon. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a ride in a big yacht and then where you party and enjoy your life. No, it's not going to be like that. One Africa is going to be a struggle. One Africa is going to be a fight. One Africa is going to be a challenging journey, a rough patch. But it has to happen. One Africa is a must. So why is One Africa a must for you? How can you impact One Africa? Where do we start? When do we start? Just sit back and relax and ask these questions to yourself. Have your own understanding. Most of African education system is not self-reflectory. We don't reflect what we think. Even sometimes when you go to religious institutions, there is not a reflection. It's always about preaching. It's always about listening to someone's perception. it's always about somebody preaching to some group of people about what he understood from that word of God. Our media is not doing enough. This is not enough. This is not even close to, I don't know, 10%, 5% of what Africa needs done. We need to grow our media. We need to grow this channel. Share it, subscribe to it, and share it to your family and friends if you haven't done it. Make sure they watch. Make sure they subscribe to this channel. Make sure they hit the like button and all those things. When you do that, you're helping a One African dream come true. That's what I believe in. Change is inevitable. Change is happening, whether we like it or not. The choice is ours. Either we change or we extinct. But are we willing to let Africa go extinct because of our reluctance and ignorance? That's also an assignment I'm going to be giving to you this night. So this is going to be closure of the show. I'm going to go with a prayer and close it with prayer. Holy Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for the amazing time that we had together with our viewers. And bless the night, and let this change fill our hearts, and let us change for good. Amen. So good night, everyone, and I'll be seeing you next Thursday. I'll be coming up with the same topic but different perspective. So until next Thursday, don't forget to share this video, subscribe to the channel, and share the One Africa channel and Swahili Nation Network channel. Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, share it on every social media platform that you have, so that people can hear and take the effect of the change that we're propagating in Africa, and let it propagate, let it grow. Be the change for the change that's coming. And you are agent of change. An agent of change doesn't sit back and watch. An agent of change acts and makes others react. And let's do that. Let's create a reaction. Until next Thursday. Bye. Asante san.